Secret Network SCRT is up almost 100% in just 1 week. That's because Colombian drug cartels, ransomware operators and terrorists have had a good week in the markets. Because they are the only ones that benefit from privacy. The rest of us, honest, hard-working individuals with nothing to hide, of course want to publish our salary on the internet so that our co-workers can check it and compare it with their salary. And as a business owner, I want my sales public so that my competitor can conveniently go in and see how much I sell for and who bought it in real time. And I also want everyone to see what kind of cheese I buy. And if I buy some insensibly expensive cheese or wine, I'd appreciate if my neighbors and my old mother gets notified about my reckless behavior. And it gets even better. In a glorious future where we have central banks' digital coins, digital cash could be programmed to ensure it is only spent on the essentials or goods which an employer or the government deems to be sensible. And some countries have already launched their CBDCs, and Europe and North America are now eager to follow. Because China and Nigeria have always been the role models of freedom for building the society we all aspire to become, where violence against minorities and social credit score for everyone else serves as our leading values. What a great future! This is really the society that our generation should build and hand over to our children. If they can only buy what the government has deemed sensible, and their entire financial life is public on the internet for the government to score and their neighbors to monitor for all eternity, they will be truly protected. And before that, we should lock those children up at home to prevent them from playing with other kids, so they are protected from infections which are not dangerous to children. No, this is a joke. I'm making a joke, but this is really what could be playing out. The power balance in the world between the West and Asia looks like this during our lifetime, your and mine. This is America, this is Europe, this is Asia, much driven by China. But what is the remaining key competitive advantage of the West? It is freedom. America is the land of the free still. I've lived in 10 countries, and this is something that everyone wants. Freedom comes with some level of privacy. Now, in recent years, some politicians in both Europe and the US have started to dismantle that. The one competitive advantage we still have left. They probably mean well. By monitoring everyone's entire life all the time, drug cartels can be prevented, yes. But the consequence on society is, I think, unacceptable. Instead, there are other technical solutions to that same problem. Crypto isn't my first rodeo. I've been through this once before. We built this in telecom, and it's worked fine for 20 plus years already. In telecom there is something called lawful intercept. We built encryption and privacy features into the 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G protocols. So you can't listen to what your neighbor talks about. You can't stand outside your competitor's office and read what they're typing on their phones to their clients. You can't see what cheese I buy. But if there is a crime suspected, it is possible to go to the prosecutor, get the court order, and then you can. That's a great system where you achieve both privacy for citizens in general and can still go after criminals. Crypto has similar solutions, and today we will explore Secret Network, SCRT. Bitcoin and Ethereum were the first generation of their respective use cases of digital gold and smart contracts. You can't get everything right the first time. There was no support for privacy on Bitcoin or Ethereum. Everything is public and is trivial to analyze. It's much less private than the old banking system with wire transfers, which makes this rhetoric where I started today's video so hilarious. If you're a crook, why would you put your transactions on the internet for all eternity? It would be pretty dumb. Better to use cash or banks with some complex offshore company construction instead, which is exactly what the big criminals do, for exactly that reason. Check the amount of money that has been found in corruption and fraud in the legacy financial system versus in Bitcoin. But if you instead encrypt everything, you can potentially run into another problem, where there actually is a suspected crime. How can you follow the money then? Or picture another scenario. What if you've been set up and you're wrongly accused of a crime? How do you prove your innocence? Or how do you audit taxes? Just like lawful intercept solved both privacy and criminal justice for the entire world, 5 billion people in telecom for decades, is there a similar solution for cryptocurrencies? And as it turns out, yes, there is. And it's called viewing key. It's a very simple concept. Your activities are private, but if you need to show your wallet, you can give a viewing key where it's possible to verify what has actually happened. This, I think, will be a necessary feature of the future blockchains. And it's a reason that Secret Network perked my interest. I think the name is really bad. I know it came from a community vote, but that's just one example on why the public often isn't right in areas they don't know. I presume that most people voting on that do not have experience in public communication. I feel the name Secret really pushes the narrative in the wrong direction, like you're doing something in secret. I'm very much in public, but I still want confidentiality or privacy features. How it works is that there is a bridge. You can send in normal ETH here, normal Ethereum from your MetaMask, and then you can get, for example, sETH, which is a secret asset. To do this, you need to do 3 things. First, you need a MetaMask account with some ETH in it. Connect MetaMask. Okay, done. Then you need to get another wallet which looks very similar to MetaMask, that's called Keplr. Make sure you get the right extension, don't get a scam. You set it up in exactly the same way as MetaMask with a passphrase that you should write down and keep both safe and out of sight. Let's connect Keplr. Connect. And this is maybe the most confusing part. To use this, you also need some SCRT tokens for gas on the Secret Network side. This is another layer 1 network, so you can't swap that from Uniswap or something else because this is not the Ethereum chain. The easiest way to do this is actually to go to the Binance Central Exchange and buy a tiny amount there for gas and withdraw to the Keplr wallet's Secret Network. To prepare for this tutorial, I've loaded the MetaMask wallet with some ETH and the Keplr wallet with some SCRT for demonstration. Now we can do a swap. We have to click Use My Address. Seems kind of obvious, I think that should be the default. And then let's take a small amount of ETH. And on the Secret Network side, we will get Secret ETH. Let's go! Alright, looks fine. Confirm. Some serious gas fees here, $32. Alright, this is what I'm doing for you guys. Confirm. Follow transaction status. Transaction is pending. Let's wait for a while. The bridge allows users to lock their ETH or ERC20 in a smart contract on Ethereum and mint Secret ETH or Secret ERC20, which are wrapped token with privacy on the Secret Network based on the SNP20 standard. From Ethereum to Secret Network. This will require you to send the Ethereum assets that you want to use with privacy on the Secret Network and the secret destination address. You then sign the transaction on MetaMask and move tokens to a locking smart contract on Ethereum. Once assets are sent to the deposit contract on Ethereum, the bridge multisig operators will mint Secret ETH or sETH to the address you provided above. There are 3 blockchain confirmation periods on Ethereum before secret tokens are minted on the Secret Network. So you send your ETH as normal from MetaMask to a special smart contract which monitors that and then mints the sETH on the Secret Network. And in the other direction, from Secret ETH to Ethereum, this will require you to burn the Secret ETH and provide an ETH destination address. Once the SNP tokens are burned on the Secret Network, the multisig committee will unlock funds from the deposit contract and send it to the address you provided. Sending from the Ethereum to the Secret Network costs about 100k gas on Ethereum, while the gas on the Secret Network is actually covered by this multisig committee. Sending secret tokens to Ethereum, meaning in the other direction, is actually fairly expensive. It can be equivalent to the price of 500k Ethereum gas, as I understand. So the fees to move from the Ethereum world to the Secret Network world and back are actually fairly high. But once you're in the Secret Network, the fees are fairly low, as we will see. And there is also another solution to this. It's not only Ethereum that's supported by this bridge, it does also support Binance Smart Chain, which has much lower fees. So you could potentially use that network instead to get from the, so to say, more traditional world into the Secret Network domain. Our transaction is complete. Let's look now in our Keplr wallet, and we don't see any sETH. What is going on? That's the link down here. Secret tokens are privacy tokens. In order to see your token balance, you will need to create a viewing key. Let's click that. Here, secret Ethereum, symbol SETH. And you don't click this one. Submit, prove. Now look here, SETH 0.1 SETH. Yes! It didn't disappear. So let's continue to read here. Why do I have to unlock secret tokens? What is a viewing key? Tokens on the secret network based on the SNP20 standards are privacy tokens. All transactions and balances are completely private. As such, even your wallet software cannot know your balance without being given express permission. This is what unlocking a token means. The method which you give your wallet or site viewing permission is called viewing keys. The viewing key is a string that is stored by the SNP20 contract and is used to grant access to read-only queries. Keplr Wallet has built-in support for these viewing keys, and you can create them using the native interface. In addition, it's important to note that each token requires a separate viewing key. Okay, so now we're in the secret domain, and then we can go to, for example, the swap function, which is exactly like Uniswap, except that it has privacy features and lower fees, and we use Keplr Wallet instead of MetaMask Wallet. So let's connect, prove, swap your SETH, your secure ETH that we just got. Look here, balance 0.1. And then we can swap it to any other security-wrapped token here, like SADA, SAVE, SBake, SBUT, SBNB, SLink, SMaker, SUSDC. So let's swap some to SUSDC. Maybe we want $10 secure USDC, SUSDC. Let's swap. And as you can see, this actually goes in two steps. First from SETH to the SCRT token, which is a secure version of the SCRT token, over to SUSDC. The total cost for both of these swaps are about $3.42. Not super low, but nowhere near Uniswap either. Approve. Success. Swapped this for 9.96 SUSDC. Then we click View Balance, because remember now that we can't actually even see our own balance without adding this viewing key. Submit. That costs some gas also, 0.33, so not so much. Now we've added this viewing key, and as you can see, now we can see our SUSDC, which is 9.96 SUSDC. And this experience is very similar to Uniswap, except that it has privacy features and lower fees, and you use the Keplr wallet instead of the MetaMask wallets. Actually, there are two very similar DEXs here. One is the secret swap that I just showed, which was first, and the other one is Sienna Network Swap. It's a little funny when reading the Sienna documentation, they kind of insinuate that they are first and only service doing this. I don't know if it's intentional deception or if it's just an over-ambitious marketing person, because it's not the right way to do this. Because that means they have not written a single word, neither here nor from what I can find on Twitter, about how they are better than Secret Swap with their token, which is called Cephii. Here is the Secret Swap we just used. Here is the Sienna swap. User interface is a little different, but otherwise it's exactly the same. Here is the pool, Secret Swap. Here are the pools, Sienna Swap. If we look at liquidity, Secret Swap 89 million, Sienna Swap 27 million. So while Sienna Swap kind of insinuated they are the leading and only company doing this, they're actually not number one. They have less liquidity locked than Secret Swap. So what is better, guys? What's the proposition? I can see that there is a roadmap for more DeFi functionality like lending, but what about right now? Actually, the first of these two tokens that I discovered was the Sienna tokens, and then I almost felt a little deceived when I realized that actually there was another one that is bigger and was actually first. But that's just my own ignorance, my poor research. But there is something else that I'm more concerned about with the Sienna network, and that is this. I mean, look here, 24% of founders locked only for 6 months and then remaining released daily over 20 months. 20% to private sale, locked only for 3 months, then released daily over 16 months at $5 per token. 13% for development fund and only 2% to the public sale at $6, remaining in this minting pool. And I'm really sorry to say that, but these numbers smell cash grab. And I'd welcome the Sienna team to come on my channel and in a second video to deep dive on both what the USP really is, the unique selling point of Sienna, and number two, these tokenomics, and if the team is willing to revise this. If you are not planning to sell on your supporters, a longer lockup wouldn't be a problem, right? So let's look in more detail on the 3 tokens involved. Note again here that there are 2 versions of this token. One is the SCRT token, native to the network. That's the one we see here that you can get from Binance.com. And then we can swap that over to SSCRT, which is the secret version of this token. So if we take one of these and we swap it, SCRT to SSCRT, arrow swapping one SCRT for SSCRT. We are working on add functionality back. Please, try later. What we can conclude here is that we are definitely on the bleeding edge of technology here, guys. Let's try that on Siena network instead. SCRT, I can actually not type anything here. Trading pair does not exist. Okay. Use this tool to convert SCRT to SSCRT. Try it out. Alright, so Kepler has a function for that also. Let's try that instead then. Convert SCRT to secret SCRT. 1. Convert. Approve. Congratulations, 1 secret SCRT. And I just added this viewing key, so sure enough, we have 1 SSCRT here. And while we're in the Kepler app, I can show you this also. If you stake in the secret network, you don't stake the SSCRT, the secret token, you stake the SCRT token. Look here, SCRT, so here you can stake and you get some commission. But that's probably another video. And now when we're in the secret domain, let's give Siena network another chance. Let's swap from SSCRT. Did I mention that I'm not a fan of the naming guy in this project? SSCRT, why can I not select it? Because I already selected it here. So from SSCRT to, for example, the Siena token then, which is the native token of Siena network. Shows balance 1. So maybe we swap 0.1, swap it, swap privately. So now we're doing a private swap here. And the gas fee here is around $1. It's not bad. Swapping. Done. This took maybe 30 seconds. You just swapped 0.1 secret SCRT for 0.01 Siena. Congrats. You just swapped privately with 0 front running and reduced the circulating supply of Siena. Thank you. So there is real utility here. There is no doubt about it. How about the valuation of these projects? Let's have a look. So total value locked in the secret finance network, the bridge, is $131 million as of now. And here you can also see that this is multi-chain. We have Ethereum tokens here. Here is, for example, ETH on BSC network. Here you have USDC on the Binance Smart Chain network and so on. Native BNB. So where does this land us in terms of TVL? Let's look at DeFi Llama. Actually, it's not even on the first page in the top 100. It's here at 147, Secret Bridge. 118 million is probably the same number, it's just not updated yet for today. And Secret Swap, the first DEX that I showed, is here on 87 million TVL. And that's not much actually. And since market cap is actually quite high in relation to that TVL, this puts market cap per TVL at a whopping 12. Meaning that you pay $12 for each $1 that's actually used in the protocol. And if we compare this with other projects, you can see that it's usually less than 1. Aave, Curve, MakerDAO. Uniswap shows at 2.7 here, but you actually have to add the TVL of Uniswap v3 to this number, which takes that number to 1.9. It's really only Thorchain Rune, which has a similar valuation of 14. This shows that the market has already priced in tremendous growth in the secret network, so they better deliver on that now. One reason for this valuation could also be this, that people look at how many of the project's own tokens are staked. 100 million tokens at price 9 becomes then $900 million. And then the market cap of 1.3 billion feels a little more reasonable. But it's a bit of a circular argument in my opinion. Also, unique addresses sending transactions, it's just over 1,000 people in a day. That's not that many. Let's look at the second token, the Secret Swap, or the Secret Finance as it's also called. They have a liquidity of 89 million and the market cap of 45 million, making the market cap per TVL ratio more like 0.5, which feels more reasonable. Siena liquidity 27 million, market cap 45 million. But fully diluted valuation is 496 million. I mean, come on guys. I really hope this team is willing to come on the show. Market cap per TVL around 1, but that's the current MC, not the fully diluted one. I really want to understand this better, and maybe there is a better explanation than I've been able to find. Now let's look at the TA of the SCRT main token first. And curiously, this does not analyze well on the daily chart. There is no consistency in the trend flips here, which actually leads me to believe that this larger question of is privacy a thing or not, that pendulum has been swinging fairly slowly over these years. This token was listed in 2017, and there's only been one swing of this pendulum, from a very excited start to a point where it did not seem so relevant. And now that pendulum is swinging back, maybe with all the China bans and everything that's going on in the West. So Larsen line is set on weekly. We can see that it flipped gold here in January at about $1. Now we're up here at almost $9. And what I'd like to draw your attention to is that this is a cup and handle pattern. Cup, handle. and we had the breakout. That's extremely bullish. Larsen line is up and the cup and handle pattern, and somehow the fundamentals of this trend, as I wanted to illustrate in the intro, I think is very positive. How about the secret network to BTC chart then? Well, it looks fantastic as well. It's a sort of complex head and shoulders and a double bottom pattern. Here we have a double bottom which confirmed at the breakout of this neckline, which just happened a couple of weeks ago. And it's also complex head and shoulder. Here's the shoulder, here's the head, here's the shoulder, and we had the breakout through the neckline. And Larsen line has flipped gold. We served a perfect entry here at the retest of support after Larsen line trend had flipped gold, which was really here at 7k sats. Now we're at 14k sats. And similar here, if you didn't enter on the Larsen line flip but wanted to wait for the cup and handle formation, for example, maybe entered here at 5. So it's a little late, but it's not that late. It's not 10x late. As in many cases, you discover the project when it's already gone 10x and you end up chasing after. It's very hard to get a good entry. All in all, even though this isn't a new project, it's been listed here since 4 years back, I still feel it's a very relevant project in this time of day. There are clearly kinks to work out, as we just saw. It's fairly complicated to understand. There are details here which are not obvious, like you need to have the SCRT gas and the Ethereum gas to do a transaction, and the complexity of swapping on bridges, swapping on the wallets, and swapping on the actual DEX, like Secret Swap or Sienna. But overall, I was very positively surprised for this. I feel that the TA is in a very interesting point right now, and overall, I was delighted to learn about this. If you want to learn about other exciting privacy protocols, I recommend to watch the XHV video. That's, I think, one of my best videos. I'll publish it here. I hope you learned something. I'm CTO Larsson. Thank you, tack. CTO Larsson out. Hej då!